So this is a video I've been meaning to make for a long time and just talk about how dog shit YouTube really is. You know, I've had 11 years plus experience on YouTube and I have had so many successes. I've had so many downfalls, and right now it is in its worst fucking state imaginable. Honestly, I can show you some channel analytics and stuff like that, which we'll get into in this video, and just to really showcase that no matter how hard you work and how dedicated you are to what you're doing, you will still ultimately get fucking thrown in the gutter, shoved shit in your face, and just basically saying, you know what? You're not good enough. You're just not good enough. That is what YouTube constantly reminds you of, that you are just not good enough. You're not as good as all these other people on the platform. You never will be. So why the fuck are you even trying? You know, I have been consistent with games constantly on my main channel since, 2014. We're in 2025 now. And I will showcase you some stats very shortly on my channel just to show you how fucked YouTube really is. And, it could be my fault. It could be because I stream Monday to Thursday on my channel, my main channel. I stream Monday to Thursday consistently. And, of course, I also post videos on the weekend. I'm not just this one streamer, like every other streamer that, fucking just posts clips of their live streams on a weekend and calls it a day. No, I actually do fully edited content. I do guide videos, I do build videos and all that stuff. And yeah, maybe the last few months I haven't really been consistent on my shit. But with a channel that has over 18,000 subscribers, mainly around horror stuff, you'd think I'd actually get more views on horror stuff. It would make more sense that way. Despite me branching out to other niches and genres because of the horror scene getting fatigued and just, straight up dull and boring because the state of gaming is absolutely atrocious around horror games. I have finally found a horror game that I enjoy, which is Outlast Trials. And, as soon as I start doing content for that, nobody really watches my shit anymore. My views just dropped off massively as well. And, I do have those consistent people that want to be there every day watching my streams and everything, which I always appreciate that. But at the end of the day, that's not sustainable for me. I do this for a living. And that's where, a lot of frustration can lead. And, especially having OCD like myself, I'm always looking at the numbers and really thinking, what the fuck has gone wrong here and what's going on there? And, there's going to be a channel I'm going to highlight as well. We're going to talk about that as real quick. But yeah, that's just the gist of what's been happening on YouTube. And YouTube's going down this fucking AI path, which AI is just going to blow shit up. It's going to ruin so many good things that we've all come to love and enjoy. Mainly YouTube. The recommendation system is fucking atrocious. I have people who literally watch me every day who don't get recommended my videos or my live streams. They like, oh, I didn't even get a notification that you're live. I had to actively go on your channel and go and look on the live tab to see if you were live streaming because it just didn't even pop up in their subscription feed or anything that I was live streaming. So, yeah, that's another thing. That's just not one person. I've had quite a few people relay that feedback to me, that YouTube is just not even showing my content to them anymore. Again, it's like I get pissed off with myself about it. I beat myself up about it all the time. I get depressed about it. I sit there and I'm like, what's the fucking point? What is really the point of me even continuing to do content when it's clearly that I'm not good enough? But at the end of the day, when you're looking at things and hearing things that people aren't even being recommended my content who have been subscribed to me for years, that's a fucking issue, right? That's on YouTube's end, and I shouldn't beat myself up about it. And, at the end of the day, I could just make shit content. That would be totally on me. That would be my fault. But I don't think my content's that bad, personally. I spend a lot of time making all these guides and build videos and stuff like that. Like I said, I haven't really been honing in on making videos around a certain game anymore because I feel like, if I do that, then I'm just going to be deemed that one guy like I was with, covering Evil Dead the game. I was Evil Dead the game's bitch for the longest time, and I made content around that game constantly and consistently, and that's all I did. I rarely branched out to other games, and then went on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then that game died. These games unfortunately have just died, and again, that's not my fault, but I blame myself for not maybe trying harder. Maybe I shouldn't rely on a game's success for me to be successful. But who can realistically sit there and stream games that are no longer being supported anymore. You know, who can realistically sit there and stream Monday to Thursday 4 to 5 hours a day playing games like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Evil Dead the game when they don't get updates and there's nothing to be hyped for anymore? Yeah, you can enjoy the game for maybe to one stream, but you know, when you're trying to do this consistently for a living, it's very fucking brutal. But you know, when we went for all these horror ASM games and built up a good subscriber base, I was just seeing, like, when the games died, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna maybe try something new. And on my main channel, I moved on to Marvel Rivals and I did a lot of stuff there. I got into the Partner Plus program. I absolutely fucking blew up doing Marvel Rivals content. And then, you know, it literally not even the space of a week, I went from getting, you know, nearly 200,000 views on a guide video to getting 1,000. And that is just complete and utter fucking trash. Like, you don't understand what that does to a person. How you have that much success to immediately go to almost nothing, and there's just no explanation as to why that happened. I no longer do Marvel Rivals content because it just, when that happened, it absolutely just fucking blew my brains out to the point where I was like, why am I continuing to do this? You know, like, if I've had that success, and I'm not saying like I am owed anything here, but if I've had it consistently over, like, I don't know, 15 videos of having between 50,000 views and 200,000 views, to then only go to 1,000 views and barely 1,000 views on, like, you know, the latest news. You know, being in the Partner Plus program, I had early access to everything, every season. I had early access to the heroes. So me doing videos around that, you'd think that would be pretty popular, right? Just like everybody else does. You know, me describing the character in detail, how to play them, doing a guide for them before they, you know, before they even are released into the wild for everybody else to try. You know, people wanted to see gameplay of the new heroes and stuff like that. And you know, you think that would literally be it. You know, that would be popular to a lot of people. And, you know, I could have just continued to do that, but it wasn't. You know, I'd post like, oh, look, this is a, you know, brand new Ultron gameplay, and the dude isn't even released into the game yet, and it would get 800 views. To compare that to when you had 200,000 views from other videos is fucking crazy. So yeah, this is just I don't even know what I even say, really, around my channel anymore. And I know a lot of people sit and watch me every day, and I do appreciate that. But, you know, it gets to the point where I'm just like, should I just start again? Should I just go from scratch? Should I just not stream and just do stupid videos and just not fucking care anymore? And maybe then I'll just actually enjoy it more. And, you know, like the last few weeks, I've done nothing but stream Outlast Trials, and I fucking loved it. But, you know, that love doesn't necessarily translate to views, and everybody just says, oh, well, just cover games you enjoy, just play games you enjoy. It's just not that simple. It's never that simple. That's why you just see so many channels that do so well. They're just like covering one video, unless you are like a personality channel or something along those lines. You know, I just don't know. There's people, and this day, you know, Dead by Daylight, you know, let's just talk about Dead by Daylight real quick. But, you know, that game is just fucking terrible to really do content for, okay? I'm going to quickly show you some stats from Dead by Daylight on my channel real quick. If you look basically on my popular, so if you go to my videos and then you go to popular here, you know, a lot of them are Dead by Daylight related. You know, I don't, these are from years ago, but, you know, I'm just saying, like, I've had 110,000 there, I've had 56,000 there, I've had 34,000, 40,000, and, you know, 25,000. I haven't really had a small number on my Dead by Daylight build videos until, you know, recently, where, you know, I've done a build probably for Rick Grimes that only had 918, but I did a Michonne build that had 3,200, so, yeah, it's just like, there's another one here, my 3 favorite survivor builds to use right now on DBD, and it's like 4,500 views. Like, I could, you know, if I saw numbers like this consistently on build videos, I would have kept doing it. But really, you know, when it's just fucking, when it's dying, like, and I'm spending all this time making build videos and test them out and stuff like that, and then I'm just not getting the numbers to back it up. It's inconsistent that pisses me off. Like, the inconsistencies on YouTube is what really fucks me off the most. You know, I have a World War Z in 2025 video, 31,000 views. The next video is like 3.5k, 2.5k, then 380 views. And then, you know, it could be the type of content. I don't know. You know, maybe people don't like watching me play a killer for the first time. I guess that's not entertaining enough for them. They really just want to hear the latest news on that. Or, you know, maybe they just want to listen to me rant about a fucking Halloween game that isn't even out yet. And yeah, you know, it's just, it's strange to me. So you want to watch build videos, but you don't want to watch, you know, me trying out a new killer for the first time when I'm not even a killer main, you know, me giving me my thoughts about it. I don't know. It's just fucking bizarre. It's inconsistent, and it really pisses me off. But the main thing about the Dead by Daylight content was, like I said, you know, I did have a lot, like back in the day, I did have a lot of popular videos for it. And I still did get quite a few popular videos for it when, you know, I did come back to cover it for a little while. And then, you know, you go on my live streams and you go on popular on my live streams, and I've had, you know, live streams absolutely blow up where I've had 55,000 and 33,000 views, 26,000 views. You know, this is when I was very young, and this was, you know, 5 years ago and stuff like that. And that's just basically when I, you know, even much more recently when the Crash Zoo come out, I had 10,000 views on that live stream. And you know, I had, you know, over 100 live viewers, concurrent live viewers, average viewers. Even on this Ringu chapter 1, I had like literally over 3,000 live viewers, which was a long time ago. It was a long time ago, and yeah, it's just like I've been doing this, like I said, for, I want to say properly, for a good part of 10 years now. You know, I maybe started. I left my job because, you know, management issues and shit like that were pissing me off. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go try and do something that I really enjoy. And, you know, I thought if I'd be consistent, I'm uploading regularly, I'm doing my streams regularly, then it'll all just click into place nicely. Because, you know, I feel like I do have the voice now. I never used to have the confidence. I never used to have the voice for YouTube. You know, I used to be, welcome back, guys, and today we're going to be talking about Payday 3. You know, I used to have that really soft, like, anxious voice, but now I'm a lot more dedicated, I'm a lot more fucking into it, I'm a lot more passionate about the things I talk about, and that's, you know, it takes a long time to get your voice on YouTube, but, you know, when you fucking, I don't know, when you're spending so many hours making, you know, how to play the Outlast Trials Complete Beginner's Guide, and you're only getting 149 views, but the video you did before that had 1.5 thousand views around the same game, you just kind of like, okay, then. And I get it, you know, it's a beginner's guide. You know, these people have probably played the game already. They're going to be interested in a beginner's guide, which is totally understandable. But it just feels like I don't even get the chance to even get this to a place where it's like, oh, this is interesting to people. You know, I didn't even get the chance for that to happen. You know, and you know, this is how fucked YouTube really is. So this guy, okay, you can go watch him. And I'm not, you know, I'm not shitting on this guy at all. You know, I was actually really enjoying watching his videos and stuff. So this video here has 484,000 views, and this is what got recommended to me today. And he said, if you see this in the title, he says, if you see this, the YouTube algorithm is bullshit. And if you watch the video, he talks about how this is a brand new channel for him, and he's only just started posting like 3 weeks ago. And he has another channel that only has over 2,000 subscribers. And basically, he hasn't put any tags, he hasn't put anything in the description. He's just done a screenshot of the gameplay and put that as the fucking thumbnail. Literally the most minimal effort imaginable. And he's had his video completely blow up to nearly 500,000 views, which is absolutely insane. And of course, the next video only has 16,000, but that's because, you know, he got like, you know, 22,600 subscribers right there. And yeah, I mean, look, he joined back in January of this year in 2025, but he has literally only posted this that you see here for the last 3 weeks, and already has way more subscribers than me, by the way. And he has done a couple of live streams as well, which have also done pretty good. And all he does is just, you know, talk and play Call of Duty Modern Warfare, basically. And that is the state of YouTube right now. That is the fucking mess, because, you know, you can go onto his main channel, and where he's been posting consistently, he's been doing thumbnails, he's been doing titles, and he only has like 2,000 subscribers or 4,000 subscribers or whatever. I think he has 5,000 close to that, because obviously of this channel, he like kind of led people to that. But that's the fucking state of it. It really is. Like, and And you know what? There's a way to fix this. I believe I really want to try it out on my main channel, but I really don't know. But I'm going to show you how fucked some analytics are. Okay, then you can look at my earnings if you want. So this is me right now. Okay, the fact that it's positive that I've got -1 subscriber compared to the last 28 days is fucking comical. By the way, that is a positive on my channel. That is the only positive right now. I get like 23,000 views, 3.5k watch time, 127 less than usual, 7,600 less than usual, and like I said, I've only had -1 subscriber, which is very positive, and my earnings are just dog shit at the moment. And this is basically what I have to put up with. And you want to see something really comical? Okay, this is what I was earning at the start of the year. So this is my views from the start of the year. This is when I was covering Marvel Rivals, okay, and, the game had just come out, fair enough, but for it to drop off, as you can see here, towards the end of January, okay, this is when things started getting really bad. Okay, so this is like when Season 2 come out. Like I said, fair enough, a game loses popularity, a lot of less people stop watching stuff, that's fine. I've deleted all my Marvel Rival stuff on my channel now, and that was not an easy thing to do when you've had so many popular videos out there. You're like, these are the things that blew me up. These were the things that kind of put me on the map a little bit. They didn't translate well into subscribers. It was the same with doing the Dead by Daylight stuff. Like, sure, I've probably got a couple of thousand subscribers from Dead by Daylight, but when you've had hundreds of thousands of views on a game and you're only getting like 2,000 plus subscribers from it, it's not really that good. And to be honest, 2,000 is probably a generous number. I probably got less than that, but yeah, that's it was just a big decision, and that's the decisions I've got to make on this channel. Really, is to like, why is some games just not really working for me? Why is videos not working out here? Like, it's obvious an Outlast video can do well for me because I've had success with it. I've had, doing a quick news video about the roadmap. I had success with that. A live stream I did with the new update, I had success with that. And then it's just like, there's just no consistency there, and that's what pisses me off the most. I want something to be consistent. I don't want big numbers. I've never wanted fucking big numbers on YouTube. I don't want to ever be that guy that gets hundreds of thousands of views every single video. I'd be happy if I sat there and put a video up and it went from 1,000 to 10,000 views on a video. Like, I'd be happy with that. But the fact is that I've gone from getting 200,000 views on a video, okay, almost 200,000 to 152 views on a video. And yeah, it's a different game, blah, blah, blah. There's so many fucking different things here. But even if I'm just scrolling through my YouTube studio here real quick, there's just no consistency in the numbers, like 800, 200, 4,000, 200, 3,000, 1,000, 2,000. I should be a fucking, one of those guys at an auction. Yeah, 600, 918, 1,000, 2,000, 1,000, 306, 5, 1,000. Ignore these though, because these are just unlisted adverts that I did for a mobile game. But 1,700, 4,000, 1,600. It's just there's absolutely no consistency at all. It's just so fucking random. It pisses me off. Okay, and yeah, this is just, I don't even know what to think anymore. Do I give up with this channel? Do I move away? Do I make something new? Do I go onto Twitch and just stream on Twitch and then just use this channel for videos? Do I just go and fucking delete this channel? And I don't know, man. It's absolute dog shit. It's blowing my brains out. I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself right now, if I'm consistent with Outlast Trials, maybe it's my next 20 videos, I'm constantly live streaming it, well, then, you look so much into the YouTube algorithm, you want to please it, you kind of want to be like, hey, I'm an Outlast channel, show my content to Outlast fans. Okay, so the way to do that would be to build up content for that game. And obviously, like I said, I've done a couple of videos for Outlast for the last few weeks. I need to post a little bit more. Obviously, with there being Thanksgiving holidays and stuff, I haven't bothered posting because I know a lot of people aren't obviously online doing stuff like that. But, the last, I don't know, 10, is that 10 streams roughly? Yeah, roughly about 10 streams. The last 10 streams has been nothing but Outlast trials. And, you know, that's a whole other ball cart of shit, you know, a whole other ball cart of thinking, does live streaming affect my video performance? You know, does me streaming and having all these streams on my channel negatively affect my click-through rate? Does it affect my watch time, my average watch time? All this stuff goes through my head constantly. Could you imagine that fucking headache every single day of like, hey, I want to do a live stream today, but maybe it might not be as popular, and, you know, that could affect how my videos perform. And, you know, I want my videos perform because that's how I grow. I don't grow from live streaming unless it's an update day, like you see here, like 2v8 finally returns on Dead by Daylight. I get over 1,000 views there. Invasion update on Outlast Trials, you know, that's like over 2,000 views there on a live stream, which, you know, is relatively good. And then 1,000 here, but then, you know, the next few live streams, you know, I don't even get more than 500 people, and then it's like, what do you do here? And, you know, there's just been these YouTube gurus, they talk a load of bollocks, okay? You see all these YouTube gurus like, oh, I started a second channel and it absolutely blew up. You know, this is so easy. You know, anybody can do it. They're talking out of their ass. Okay, they really are. They're making shit up. They're preying on people's desperations, I guess. When people like me are desperate to try and fix their channel, that's where their views come from. You know, that when people are looking for the success on YouTube, they want to be the next big influencer. I fucking hate that term, by the way, but yeah, they want to be that next big guy. I want to be that huge TikTok star, and, you know, that's what YouTube has become, unfortunately, is just leaning into the TikTok mentality of people want to watch short form content, but then you hear things like, oh, posting YouTube shorts really fucks over your YouTube channel, and, you know, in my experience, that is 100% true, at least. You know, I've done that so many times. I've done YouTube shorts. I fucking deleted all my shorts off this channel, apart from the ones that I had to do an advert for, whatever. Right here, so in the videos, my top videos in the last 28 days, my World War Z video, which has had, you know, nearly 6,000 views in the last 28 days. You know, you know what? This was just a random video. I barely put any effort into this at all. It was just a video I woke up one day and went, oh, I feel like doing a World War Z video, and, you know, is it worth playing in 2025? Because I play that game now and then off stream. I don't ever stream it. I don't do content for it. And it's fucking blew up, you know. I wouldn't say blew up, but, you know, it's done really well, and it's just consistently pulling in views right now, and it's just so weird. But, and then my next video is a Killing Floor 3. So it's two games that I'm not really actively covering at all, but these have, you know, more views than what I'm consistently covering right now. It's bizarre. But you see here how I have two of these videos, which were advertisement videos. You see how I'm getting views for those? So these things could actually be fucking over my own algorithm, even though I'm technically not getting the views. Okay, it's through advertisements, basically. So yeah, it's a bit of a fucking mess, YouTube, honestly. And I don't know. I don't have the answers. You know, that's the thing, and there's never a straight cut answer from anybody. I've been on YouTube's live chat loads of times. I've asked them, you know, what the fuck's going on with my channel here? You know, should I be live streaming on this channel all the time? You know, does YouTube's algorithm go, oh, he's a live streamer, so we're not pushing out videos? Or doesn't any of it fucking matter at all? Do you just put stuff out there and, you know, people's not going to give a shit, and then YouTube's not going to give a shit, but, you know, whatever reason, you'll get over 400,000 views? You know, can that happen? You know, it's just, I don't know. There's no clear-cut answer on what to do anymore. And for me, you know, right now, I just want to sit and play Outlast. I want to do Outlast videos. I want to do Outlast live streams. Like it or not, that's entirely up to you. You know, I don't, like I said, I don't want to be a Dead by Daylight content creator. I really fucking don't. I felt like I just went to there because it was a safe net. You know, I do enjoy the game in some respect, you know, but, you know, there is going to be updates like Stranger Things that will probably pull a shit ton of people to my channel. You know, the chapter 2 of Stranger Things, like that could happen. You know, I'd sit and get a ton of views from that. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's just going to be a lot of empty souls right there. You know, like it has been in the past. You know, Dead by Daylight is just such a weird community to build a community around, I guess. You know, it's like I said, you can pull so many people, and you do a really entertaining Dead by Daylight video. You'll get the views for it, but they always just want to watch the top people. I just feel like it's very difficult to get into the space of doing content for Dead by Daylight. I wouldn't say it's just because it's oversaturated. I just feel like, you know, you can get the views there. You can definitely get some subscribers there, but you just can't really get that breakthrough moment like you could with other ASIM games and covering other ASIM games out there. And, you know, I've seen people like, you know, just posting no commentary videos around certain games and everything like that, and they get more views than I do. And you know, it's just so much depression. It really is. There's no right or wrong answer, and doing YouTube for such a long time, I've come to the conclusion that it's potluck. It really is. You know, if I could, I would just sit and fucking live stream every day, you know, and just call it a day and be like, you know what, that's enough. You know, YouTube's gonna push my live streams to people. That's just not ever gonna be the case. So I've got to try and do videos. I've got to try and grow somehow. But it could be the case of like, this channel is just fucking cursed. It really is. You know, it could just be cursed to the point where no matter what you do, you'll always just constantly have the fluctuations of videos, views, and subs, and, you know, live stream views and stuff like that. I always feel like, you know, what if I made a new channel completely from scratch, and, you know, I just took over my loyal viewers over there, and we just started doing some good stuff on that channel, and, you know, that was getting consistent views and good watch time, and then that just all of a sudden blew up, and I was just covering one game, and, you know, that could be one option. But when you're, I think the biggest thing that pisses me off on YouTube the most as well is the whole recommendation system. So if we go to the YouTube homepage real quick, and here's my, like, things I'm getting recommended. Steak and Eggs podcast, house tour. Never fucking watched any of these people in my life. How bad is the Resident Evil gacha game? You know, I've never watched any. Well, I've watched like one video on the Resident Evil mobile game, but that's it. And then like the next, like, so the top 3 things is a display advert, this and this. Okay, so now I've got to scroll down, and now I'm getting thrown these fucking YouTube shorts in my face, and I fucking hate watching YouTube shorts. I'm on a PC as well. Why the fuck would I want to watch a YouTube short on my PC? Fair enough if I'm on my mobile, but I don't want to see this shit on my homepage. You know, I want to see people I'm actually subscribed to. And we scroll down a little bit more, you know, get, you know, this guy again, I subscribed to him just because I thought it was funny. So his like 400,000 videos, what appeared in the top right here. And like I said, he's not doing any tags. He's not doing anything in his descriptions on his videos. And it's just there. I find it just so fucking laughable. But the recommendation system, the AI system that's going to be, you know, played out on YouTube. You know, they're using Gemini AI now to determine if you're a real fucking person when you're posting content and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's like, it's just such hard work to actually go and find, you know, like live streams are just always thrown down the bottom here, and, you know, this is all just Sky News and stuff. Like, what if you want gaming live streams, and you've got to come all the way down here to gaming, and then, you know, this is where you browse to watch people live stream, and oh look, let's look in Dead by Daylight's category here, and this is the live stream and fucking display of what you get to choose from for people that you want to watch playing that game. You know, and I'm usually like up and around here somewhere, but like, it's like, why am I being put up with like Japanese, like, why is it showing Japanese streamers in my region still? Like, this has been a thing that's been happening for the last fucking, I don't know, 10 years, ever since YouTube gaming became a thing on its own, like, YouTube platform. Because actually, saying that, it was probably later than that, but YouTube gaming used to be separate. Okay, it never used to be on YouTube itself, which is what I used to enjoy. I thought that was just so much fucking better. You had your own space, you had your own gaming space, everything was on there. You didn't have to rely on this the shitty YouTube stuff that you have to deal with here. But yeah, it's just a fucking mess. YouTube is just completely dog shit. I'm actually tempted to post this on my other channel as well, you know, just like to see the difference in views, to see what happens. And you know, on my main channel, I'm gonna post this and like do a thumbnail, do titles and tags and everything like that, and then I'm gonna post it on my second channel, and you know, and just see how it does, you know, without any fucking description or anything, because that'll be comical. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts on YouTube's absolute dog shit system that they've got going on right now. There's so much stuff that I left out with this video that I wanted to rant about, but I didn't want to take it out too long. You know, there's things like the like system being totally fucking outdated, and that's actually affecting your videos as well. Yeah, but why do we still have a fucking like system? I have no idea, but yeah, it's terrible. If you enjoy videos like this, hit the subscribe button. If you like to see horror content, hit the subscribe button. And thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Pixels, my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.